I finally find a lender. They fucking pull my credit, and they're like, "You got a 495 fucking credit score, dude." And I'm like, "There's no way." So I had a really shitty credit score. So I had a 495. And what's crazy about this is I didn't know it. And the reason people are going to be like, well, how the fuck did you not know it? Well, I didn't know it because when I walked into a bank, they just like, it might sound a little, arrogant, but they fucking rolled out the red carpet for me. I do so much business with these banks that they didn't give a shit.
Well, they probably didn't even pull your credit.
They do, but they didn't give a fuck.
Oh.
They did pull my credit, so
Canadian banks, like let's say your connections over at RBC, like for example, for every new mortgage that you did in the last couple of years, they re-pull your credit every time.
Yeah. So they wouldn't do it if like at one point I was buying like even sometimes multiple houses per month. Yeah. They wouldn't do it then. It was like almost every like I want to say 3 to 6 months, a 3 to 6 month period that they would do it. Yeah. Even when I went to other banks. They still didn't even do it. Yeah. They would actually just use the other banks as, a reference or whatever, right? And so I never fucking knew because for all intents and purposes, and this is my fault. I should have known. Now I have Equifax, like all that stuff. I didn't sign up for any of those things. I would really recommend people signing up for like a credit bureau subscription, which I do. So I know everything that's going on in my credit now. I'll never have that happen again. But tip number 1, I did not know, and they never told me anything.
So what was the situation that made the credit score tank so quickly?
Yeah, so what ended up happening was I had an American credit card, personal credit card, and all my other credit cards have auto pay on them. I don't want to worry about paying the balance on my credit card. I want it to automatically pay. And I had told my banker that I want every single fucking card on auto pay. I don't, and I want the full balance paid when it needs to be paid. Okay. Well, what they didn't tell me was that American personal credit cards cannot be on auto pay. So that card did not go on auto pay, and I never checked. There was like $72 that was like 90 or 100 days over. And another it was like multiple times that was over. And I don't know what circumstances I paid the $72 or whatever. Maybe I just went into my bank and was like, oh, I got a balance, I got to pay this or whatever. It's not paid yet, or I want to clear the account out. I don't know. But it happened multiple times. Happened 3 times. One was 60 days, and I had like 120, and I don't know if the other one was like 30, but it was like unpaid, right? And it knocked my score down to 495. Wow. Now, my credit score...
And that's insane because it's off of like a fucking $100.
It was crazy. I couldn't believe this. I looked at this, and the reason why I found out, well, this is how I ended up finding out. I went to go get a mortgage for Canton Manor in the States. I'm a nobody over there. So they pulled my credit and was like, what the fuck is this? Right? So I finally found a lender. Remember I told you I cold called fucking 200 people or whatever? Yeah. I finally find a lender. They fucking pull my credit, and they're like, you got a 495 fucking credit score, dude. And I'm like, there's no way. Yeah. I just did a deal for a fucking $3 million property over in Windsor. There's no way that my credit score is fucked. I would know. Yeah. They're like, no, here it is. So I ran my credit score over here, and I'm like, oh my God, it's 495. It's not even 500. It's 495. I was like, danger zone. Yeah. So I had to get all these like letters of reference from the bank, and Dan's never done this. This is a mishap, yada yada yada. So like it completely tanked. It didn't take much, and the way that I ended up fixing that was, well, I didn't want that happening again, so I actually canceled the card. I don't recommend canceling credit cards because that you actually still even take a hit canceling credit. But I didn't want that situation happening again because I'm so busy. I can't worry about fucking paying off $72. Should that something like that hit the card, I don't even know what I even spent it on. To be honest, it might have been like a dinner in Michigan. I don't even fucking know. Okay. And so I don't want to worry about that. So I canceled the card, knocked that shit down even again a little bit. But over the course of time, it over the course of like a year, ended up going back up to like, mid 700s. My score actually never hits like 800s. like I'm lucky for it to get to mid 7s. Like I'm lucky. And the reason why I'm lucky is because there's so much shit hitting my credit that like there's constant checks. There's constant loans hitting it.
Yeah.
They're even like on the commercial side. Every time I do commercial shit, it's loan check like all the time, right? So I never have like
probably even in terms
credit.
of like the ratio of, because you're like, you've talked about this on another podcast before, your income on paper from the company is negligible versus the actual mortgage that you carry in your own personal name. So that ratio probably even affects it.
It's all fucked up.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. Like my personal income, according to how much debt I have personally and all that kind of shit, is completely fucked.
Yeah.
So that's another factor. So I think even right now, I think my credit is like 737 or 40 or like it's somewhere around there. Like I'll be lucky to hit over 750. It's almost like always getting knocked down, and then it goes back up, and then it's knocked down again.
Well, probably once you're above even 650 to 700 at that point,
they want to see 700.
Yeah,
they want to see 700.
And you're talking about especially like U.S. banks.
The U.S. bank for Canton, Michigan. I actually had a stipulation. I needed a letter of credit to even get that loan. So because of my credit. So what ended up happening was the bank in RBC had to write and give them a letter of credit that basically said, if shit's hitting the fan, Canton Manor has the right to pull $250,000 from my RBC account, and I'm not allowed to draw down that amount during the course of, I think it was for a year. And the only way that they would release that letter of credit is if I got over a 690 credit score, which I ended up getting. I ended up getting like to mid 7s, and then they released it. But that was another way that I ended up getting the loan over in Canton. Not only it was COVID time, so that everybody was shit was hitting the fan, but that was another way that I ended up getting the letter, the loan over in Canton is allowing the bank in Michigan to be able to pull a letter of credit from my U.S. RBC account over in Canada that I had to establish to be able to even offer the letter of credit. Yeah.